Okay, so today I want us to look at for loops. Okay, so for loops are repetition statements which pretty much the same thing as while loops. Where you can use a for loop, you can use a while loop. Where you can use a while loop, you can use a for loop. There you can use them in any way that you want. Whichever one you feel comfortable with, you can use it in a certain program. But if I ask you to use a while loop, please make sure you use a while loop. If I ask you to use a for loop, please make sure you use a for loop. So always we begin with a syntax. The syntax for a for loop is like this. So you write for, open the bracket and close it, okay? And then the for loop has got two sections, or let me say three. This is the first section, the second section, and the third section. The second section is used for the condition. Okay, so at this point here, this is where you put the condition. Okay, the first section here is used for initialization. I hope that's how you spell it. And then this last part here is used for incrementing. Okay, remember in a while loop we had something like this. We had while, open, close, like that. Then you had the condition here, okay, and then you had the increment in there, and then you had the initialization up there. Okay, now the for loop does this by combining this, that, and that in one statement. Okay, so everything is just in one line like that. Okay, so let's continue. I'll just remove this and remove that and remove that. Okay, so if I had to leave my for loop like this, just the way I've put it like this, it will create an infinite for loop, okay, or an infinite loop. Okay, so if we try to run it like that, the program is going to work, but it won't print out anything. And what's happening here is that it's just going on and on and on and on forever. Okay, so we can't see anything, so let me try and prove that. I'll just say puts like that, and I'll just type hello. Okay, let's try to run it again. Okay, you can see it keeps printing hello, 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 hello. You can see this, it keeps going down. So this is an infinite loop. Okay, so let me just close it. Okay, so we said at this point here, initialization. At this point here, this is where the condition is, and here this is where the increment is. Okay, so I could have, let's say I wanted to print hello 10 times. Okay, so what I would do is I would say I'll create a variable int number of times. Okay, not a valid variable, so I'll just do that. Int number of times is equal to 10. Okay, and then I will say int counter is equal to 0. So what I want to do is I want this counter to have a maximum of 10. So this is like me counting. Okay, I've printed this once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, stop. Okay, so this is kind of like the max. Okay, and this is I'll call it progress counter. Okay, so actually I'll just leave it like that. Okay, so that it makes sense. So because we said this was initialization, okay, so initialization, I'll say counter is equal to 0. I have initialized counter to 0. I can initialize it to 1, then I want it to start from 1, and so on. Then this is where the condition is. What's the condition when this for loop is actually going to stop? This for loop will actually stop when counter is less than, okay, number of times. Okay, so if we leave it like this, it will still be an infinite loop. Okay, let's try. Okay, you can see it keeps printing over and over and over. So what could the problem be? Okay, so the problem is that counter, of course, I have done initialization, okay, there, and I have put the condition right here, and then this counter will never reach this 10. It will never reach 10. So how do we make sure that it reaches 10? Just like in while loops, we need to increment this counter. So increment comes on this portion here, counter plus plus. Okay, so remember, counter plus plus is the same as counter is equal to counter plus 1. You can't do this if counter is 2. If counter is 2, you have to write this whole thing here and say counter is equal to counter plus 2. Okay, so I'm just saying counter plus plus because it's easier and it's a shortcut. So now we have completed our for loop, and this means that this is going to print 10 times. So if we try to run it, okay, you can see now 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, so it prints this 10 times. If counter was equal to 3, then that means you are going to start incrementing from 3 and you won't print this 10 times. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, if counter was equal to 7, okay, meaning that counter is beginning at 7, I've initialized counter to 7. So when I run this, you can see now counter print. The effect of this is that it prints hello 3 times. Okay, so basically for loops, while loops are simply the same. It's just which one is much easier for you. Whatever you can do with a while loop, you can do with a for loop. Whatever you can do with a for loop, you can do with a while loop. So whichever one makes things easy for you. Okay, so we'll also look at maybe nested for loops, where I can put a for loop inside another for loop. Probably maybe we should just do that here. Nah, I think we'll do it in the next session. I think we'll try and simulate a clock using for loops. Okay, so this is it about for loops. And one more thing here, if I wanted, I could create a program that counts down. Okay, and that means I can say counter minus minus, meaning that counter decreases, and I can set counter to 7, and I can say counter must be greater than, so I can make this number of times 0. So in actual sense, I'm saying counter must be greater than 0. So for as long as counter is greater than 0, this print will work here. Okay, so I can try that. Okay, so now it counts 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so if you check this from 7 to 0, it's actually 7 times. Okay, maybe this might not make complete sense, but if I say print f %d so that we actually see it decrementing, I'll print counter itself here. Oops. Okay, don't forget to close that and try to run it. Okay, now you can see it prints 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, because counter is actually decrementing. Okay, we can try and make it cleaner. Let's just add a tab there like that. Okay, now it prints 7 6 5 4 3 2 1 like that. Okay, so you can see counter is decrementing, and can use counter is equal to counter -1, not equal to 1, -1, and we try to run this. The program will behave the same way. Okay, if I say -2, then it's going to subtract, it will be subtracting -2, therefore the impact of this will be 7 5 4 3 2 1. If I say -3, it's going to be subtracting at each phase of this loop. Whenever it reaches at this bracket here, it comes back, it subtracts a 2. Okay, you can see, oh sorry, it subtracts a 3. So 3 minus 7 is 4, 4 minus 3 is 1, then 1 minus 3, that's I think -2, but it doesn't reach there because this condition will not be satisfied, so it doesn't even print anything inside that loop. Okay, so you can manipulate the for loop in any way that you want. You can initialize that to 0. Let's take this back to when this was 10. Okay, and I can say +2. Okay, now counter will be starting from 0, and counter must be less than 10, so 0, so whatever value this is will be less than 10, whatever at each iteration. Okay, so these loops, whenever it goes back, that's called iteration. Okay, so when it runs the first round, you call it iteration 1, second round iteration 2, and so on. So it will go through 10 iterations. Okay, each actually not 10, 5, because we are saying counter is equal to counter +2, so it will be like 5 iterations. Okay, so if we run this, it will be 0 2 4 6 8, and there are 1 2 3 4 5 iterations. Okay, so know how to actually manipulate these 3 spaces here, and you'll be an expert at for loops. Okay, alright, so see you in the next video, and hope you do understand.